Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General YAHANNA, presents the Lord's 55th annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General YAHANNA is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Cabins on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.
Let's pop it up. Yahweh Shabbat Thumb, Yahweh Shema Thumb Bashem Yahushai. I.S.U.P.K. DC Scripture Breakdown class Wednesday. We holding it down, rocking it out. You sure the mic is good, right? Make sure it's on before you move away from the machine real quick, all right? Holding it down again. If you have any questions, we good? To what? If you have any questions at all, let's get them. You could type in. If the audio is still up, type 1. If you have questions, type them in. So you could get them answered for sure. You all know we're that Black History Month. There's no greater Black history than, or greater history in, period, than what happened to, us as a people. All right. What happened to us Blacks, Hispanics, and First Peoples or Native people? That's really that's the history of the world, because the world was able to do whatever it needed to do, on our backs pretty much as fuel, as the workforce, as the labor force, for little or nothing. You know what I mean? For absolutely little or nothing. Shapati, you want to check this the chat there just to see as the brother getting together? Just check the chat, see if there's any questions in there so far. All right. So we were the labor force. We were the slaves. We were the fuel for this place, and would never ever given any sort of compensation for it. In terms of, if you have people working for you, you pay them. If you have people working for you, you make sure their needs are met as a people. But that was never done. We were definitely treated as, dispensable and fuel. Even till this day, it's treated like that. And it trickles down to how our society develops, to how their society develops, and the different struggles that we have as well. The different struggles that we have are directly tied to being, a setback from the history that happened. Those different struggles are definitely tied to that. For sure we're going to explore it. Of course, Black History Month ain't just for the month for us, but being that the world now, or the world of Israel, our people, would now be paying attention to, what's being said, as it is Black History Month, is only right. We're going to touch on a few things as well. All right. So we're going to go into that, a famous postcard. Some people may already know about it. I think most people probably don't even know about it, because even the images of it is, not something in heavy circulation. This is something America would gladly have us forget, gladly have us just go by. So again, if anybody had any questions, if not, we're going to touch a little bit on it, all right? Let me know. I appreciate that. All right. Let's rock. Anything on your side? No sweat. Nothing yet, right? All right, no sweat. Let's start with this one, all right? What was that? Shit, that sound like, you know, either the fighter jet gets scrambled or the chariot is outside that. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting on that. I'm absolutely waiting. All right. All right, so this is from a book called When I Was a Slave, right? Memoirs from the Slave Narrative Collection, right? So this is a bunch of interviews that was done early 1900s, I would say, from, you know, different slaves that were allowed to speak to the then media, right? Or the late 1800s, early 1900s. All right. A lot of the stories here is definitely something else. That's all I could say. Absolutely something else. All right. So give me let me get a reader here from page 52, which I don't want. All right. From page 52. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you. Let me know when you go to page 53. Right. Really, them 4 pages is too wild. We'll see how much we get through before any more questions. 2 books I definitely want to go into today. All right. Go ahead, huh? You got it?
Come. I was born in slavery, and I think them days was better.
You gotta read everything out. It tells there's some information you're skipping. Postcard, see if you could find the picture of that book and put it up. It's the name of it is, read the name of the book again, huh?
When I Was a Slave, memoirs from the Slave Narrative Collection.
All right, When I Was a Slave, if you don't mind, Postcard.
Come. Andrew Goodman, interviewed at Dallas, Texas. Interviewer not identified. Age, interviewed 97.
Read that one more time. I didn't hear you properly, brother.
Come. Andrew Goodman,
Uh-huh.
interviewed at Dallas, Texas.
Uh-huh.
Interviewer not identified.
Right. He was interviewed in Dallas, Texas. A lot of these slave stories is from the South. All right. The mixer, are you using the table for it? You could put it on the blue table. He might be able to get that table right there. You could fold it and pass it to him. It might be easier for him to read if he has that table. Careful with it, all right? All right. Right. So this brother, I think he's 97 years old. Right. I believe he's 97 years old. And he's being interviewed. And this interview is being conducted in, I think, Dallas, Texas. All right. Go ahead. You got the picture of the book? Are you able to zoom in so we don't have to see everything else?
Sir, I have it
just the book. All right, so what? I think send the link to Matthew, all right? You got it.
I was born in slavery, and I think them days was better for the niggas.
Hold on. This is this is not 2024. All right. This is a slave who was born in slavery. read it together.
I was born in slavery, and I think them days was better for the niggers.
Mm-hmm.
And the days.
That's a hard R. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Then the days we see now.
Mm-hmm.
One thing was I never was cold and hungry
when
my old master lived, and I was being plenty hungry and cold a lot of times since he is gone.
Right. So I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago we went into the book The Disappearing Significance of Race, or the Declining Significance of Race, and the brother who did the study was making this point that there were slaves who wanted to leave, and then there were slaves who developed a foster relationship with the slave master. So this is one of those type of slaves. You get the point? Who was, master's been good, and I wasn't cold, I wasn't this, I wasn't that, and you're gonna see a theme as you read about it. Go ahead.
Oh God! But sometimes I think Marsh Goodman was the bestest man God made in a long time.
Hold on, read that again. Read that one more time. Yeah, okay. The words is a little bit messing with you. You sure it's not that mic that's on that? We good?
Yeah.
You sure it's not that one that's on and giving you the feedback?
It's off.
Okay, no sir. All right. Read that last line again. Let's get it, all right?
Sir. But sometimes I think Marsh Goodman was the bestest man God made in a long time.
Right. Now, when it said Marsh Goodman, it's in the book, it's spelled M-A-R-S-E, Goodman. And it sounds like that's his first name, right? That's short for master.
Mars.
Yeah. That's they is not Mars. It's like Master Goodman. You get the point? Like it's like that. It's saying it's like saying massa, not master. You get the point? It's like a term of endearment at this point. You understand? Go ahead.
Should I say like massa?
You can say it like that if you want to. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
My mother, Martha Goodman, belonged to Martha Bob Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was born,
you understand? The mother belonged to Massa Bob Goodman. So, but in the book, it's spelled like if it's a separate name, not M-A-S-S-A, right? How is it spelled?
M-A-R-S-E.
Right? So it's the person who's recording, they're trying to do their best to give you the southern accent as the interview going on. But if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna think, his name is Mars, and no, his name ain't Mars. This person is like Massa. You get the point?
It's like this is after he's free.
Okay, I believe this is late 1800s. So the whole talk about freedom is coming around. You get the point? Late 1800s. I mean, the Civil War was what?
1865.
1865. So anything after 1850, 1865?
61 to 65.
Somewhere around there, right? Okay. So anything after 1850, the talk of freedom and abolition and all that is already in the air, right? That's why he starts off like, listen, I was born in slavery and it was better for niggas because he loved master. You get the point? Go ahead.
Okay. But my Paul come from Tennessee, and Martha Bob aired him from some of his kinfolks who died over there. The Goodman must have been fine folks all the way around. Because my Paul said them that raised him was good to they niggers. Old Martha never loved. That's load. Never load none of his nigger family separate. He thought it right be fitting that folks stay together.
Mm-hmm. Meaning, like load is like in business when you're selling the family. So he's saying it was kind because when he sold the family, he sold them together and not separating it like other slave masters. You get the point? Go ahead.
Though I heard tell of some that didn't think so.
Right. So now I was read that last part again.
Though I heard tell of some that didn't think so.
Right. What does that mean? Go ahead.
That most, like you said, most masters, slave masters, would sell them apart, not as a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but okay, read the spirits on it. He said, I heard tales of others that didn't do so.
He said others didn't do so or think so.
Read it again.
Though I heard tell of some that didn't think so.
That didn't think so. I believe he's referring now to his opinion of Massa versus the others, how they think. Now, why he say it like that? I've heard tale of others that didn't think so?
Because they didn't like the fact that he did it. His slave master did it.
A little bit more, something else. Go ahead, sis.
I think it's because other people didn't feel he was probably a good master.
Other people didn't feel it, but how he said it in a certain way. He said, I heard tales of others that didn't think so. Go ahead, sis.
Was it possibly like a rumor in the air?
Yes, it's a rumor. You know, I heard a tale. I heard a story like this. You ever hear somebody say, hey, you hear so and so? You know, I heard a story like that, but I can't really be sure. He so loved master with the other slaves who is like, this nigga evil. I heard a tale about that. About, you know, he making it seem like that's, you know, outlandish. That's, you know, not unbelievable. Get the point? Go ahead.
My missus was just as good as Master Bob. My mom was a puny little woman that wasn't able to do work in the fields, and she putted around the house for the missus, doing little odd jobs. I played around with little Miss Sally and little Mr. Bob, and I ate with them and slept with them. I used to sweep off the steps and do things, and she bragged on me. Many is the time I'd get to nodding and go to sleep, but she picked me up and put me in bed with her children.
All right. So just understand this now. This is a slave this is a brother who was born into the slavery. And growing up in the slaves, it sounds like he's just like, you know, foster child out. This is not a bad thing for him. Yeah, they sell families, but shit, my master sell everybody whole. He don't break up families. Get the point? And my mom, she get to work in the house with missus. And me, listen, I get to play with her children. Well, this is in 18. What year is it? I think it says it somewhere right there what year it is. It don't say it nowhere there? Okay, I believe this is late 1800s. Nothing. It might tell you it later on. I can't remember. Right? But I believe this is late 1800s. And he sounds just like your preachers and your politicians today who try to argue on behalf of the oppressor. You understand? And it's for the same reasons. The oppressor keeps them warm. The oppressor gives them food. They ain't all bad. If you wanted to know why Killer Mike was so happy over them 3 Grammys, that's why. Get the point? Killer Mike get Grammys for rap album of the year. Name one song on the album. I didn't even know he did still rap. I thought he was moved into business with the barbershops and stuff. You know, he has barbershops in NFL stadiums up in the Sky Boot. They allow I think in Atlanta he has like if you're a big, you know, millionaire, whatever, you want to go up there, watch the game, and you could get touched up there because he has barbershops in Atlanta. Long after his big debut, not debut, but he'd been around for a while, but he had a song called Burn that was so, at the time, so revolutionary. This was at the time of Oscar Grant, I believe Eric Garner. This could have been like 2011, something like that. It was a huge song. And from then, he started to dually campaign for white and black people. Like, you know, poor white people going through the same thing black people going through. That's what he would say. So when you look at, you know, don't play the Grammy tape and all, they might flag this shit. You could get a picture of him, but anybody who want to see it could go look at it. Like he jumped around on that stage like he got his first bicycle at 4 years old. Jumped around and started screaming, "Don't tell me it's too late. Don't tell me it's too late. You could always achieve your dreams." And he was yelling, and 5 minutes later, he was in handcuffs. 5 minutes later, he got arrested and walked the hell out of the Grammy. You understand? And if you want to know where that mentality comes from, it comes from being a homeborn slave. Hold where you at. Hold right there where you at, and give me Jeremiah 2:14. All right.
So the song came out in 2011.
2011, I believe so. It was a good song. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a good song, and it's a good song from the point of view of the expression of being oppressed and being black. It's a good song from that point. And the song was out and it was strong. And then he made the music video, brother, and it was full of white people. It was full of, trailer park and, white people is oppressed and that type of shit. And since then, he'd been on that type of, mantra. Every now and then he would be dropping the little, Christ is black. He has a famous tape where he's on the TV with Creflo, telling Creflo he's not speaking the truth according to the Bible, that the Jews is black and this and that. He no doubt listening to Command and Johnny Hanna. However, the validation from the oppressor is important. You understand? Not to be successful and have your own people praise you, but the oppressor, Massa, M-A-R-S-E, Massa Grammy gave me 3 of these. I'm going to act the royal fool. You understand? Give me Jeremiah 2:14. Bakwash, what are you looking up?
I have Killer Mike walking out. The picture, still picture.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You can put it up.
Shalom Yabasham Shabakata.
Yeah, chapter Jeremiah 2:14.
Okay, so the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he spoiled?
That's it. Read it again.
Oh, God. Is Israel a servant?
Mm-hmm.
Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
Is Israel a servant? That's what Jeremiah is asking. Is the 12 tribes of Israel just meant to serve? Are we just, servants? Are we homeborn slaves? And that's a homeborn slave that's speaking right there. That right there is an absolute. He said it in the beginning. Read his first line again. Read his first line right there in the interview.
I was born in slavery.
I was what?
I was born in slavery.
Read the next line after that.
And I think them days was better for the niggers.
No, understand that, brother. He was born in slavery. What's his age?
97.
97 years old. So let's say this is 1850. He was born in 1740 something. If this is 1900, he was born in the early 1800s. If this is 1920, he was born in 1820. Our oppressor had enough time to strip good sense and good spirit from us as a people and raise a whole new breed that don't give a damn about slavery. You understand? Like if you think things is different today, then you're mistaken. You're sadly mistaken. Yeah, it's the same thing all the time. You had some who wanted rebellion, some who wanted to get away from it, some who wanted to free brothers and sisters, wake brothers and sisters up. And then there was some who, what's your problem? Like Steve Harvey said, you can't help poor people. He told Monique that. He said, you cannot help poor people. The best way to help poor people is to stay away from them. You have to get rich. And you can't have no sort of integrity when in doing that. That's what Steve Harvey said on national TV. Go ahead, Bakwash.
Slightly, if I... You can turn it down.
Man, I turn it away from you. Turn the whole speaker away. Turn the speaker away. All right, it's good. Go ahead.
I was watching to Captain Zaryak. He was battling people in the WAC 100 group, or the room, and WAC 100 was pissed off about boot kisses, and he was talking. Captain Zaryak was talking about he's not making these Edomites kisses, bow down, kiss boots. He's telling them from all the things that they've done to us from slavery up until now, they are sorry for what their ancestors were doing. And the whole room, not one person was on Captain Zara's side, was like, that was slavery. That was back in the time. That's not now. You need to stop it.
That's what they were saying?
It was like an hour and a half of everybody coming up against him saying that was old. You can't hold them accountable for what they did back then.
You'll give to Zarek a hand because he have patience to put up with these idiots. I'd have turned into Goku and start screaming on that bitch and blow everybody to hell up. You understand? That's absolute. And these are the same people who will walk around and say free Palestine when them bombings happened, months ago. You get the point? Go ahead, sis.
I got a comment about that too because I was watching that today and I thought it was remarkable how when he brought up, he tolerated them for a while, and he brought up, y'all concerned about innocent people being killed about the boot kids, but y'all gained. He was like, y'all gained affiliated and innocent people get killed when y'all going back and forth. He said, so how is it what is your justification, for your stance of that we're trying to show our people, if Edomites want to give us a reverence due to what happened to us back in the day, what's wrong with that? But it's okay for y'all Crips and Bloods to kill each other.
Listen, that was absolutely right for him to say, and it's a gut check. It's an absolute check, to check your spirit in the thing, because how is it that you make a whole career of killing each other, and damn near your reputation is based on that? You understand? Whichever color or set or region you represent, or whichever leader or general, whoever is running the whole thing, whoever is the OG, you actually fall up under. The reputation or the fear and the respect that comes from that particular group is not based on these people going to make you lose your job. It's not based on these people going, give you a bad reputation. You're going to have to face jail time. It's rooted in the violence. You get the point? It's rooted in the violence for whatever reason. I'm not, what I'm saying here for now in this context, I'm not arguing whether the reason is valid or not. But the point I'm making, it is rooted in violence. So now how is it that you have a problem and you're willing? It's one thing to have a problem with the oppressor kissing boots, but it's another thing to say it's in the past and forget about it when you wouldn't forget whatever is inspiring you to slide on the other side. You get the point? And it's a good thing for a brother to tell that to brothers. It's a good thing where Lord allow somebody would be able to hear it and wake to hell up. Now, the justification, as you were saying, for saying it's in the past is one thing and one thing only: the white man. That's all. The white man is the justification, whether you fear him or you love him or both. That's the justification for saying it's in the past, because now he can take away your present pleasure. And pleasure, brother and sisters, pleasure is something that, it would kill any sort of revolution. Pleasure is something that would stifle the life out of any type of change, any type of, revolution. Anytime you want to change something and get something going and get movement, pleasure and comfort is the killer of it. And this oppressor, he provides a tremendous amount of pleasure and a tremendous amount of comfort. You understand? Extreme pleasure and extreme comfort. So much so, we forget what life really is. So much so, you have a certain generation right now that don't know where certain things come from. You understand? There's a generation now that don't know carrots don't grow above ground. Get the point? That don't know potatoes grow underground. Don't understand how life really operates. You understand? Everything is in a can and everything is in a store. That's one example of it. You understand me? And that comes from, Your oppressor wants to keep you a slave, because what's the first line he said in his book, in the interview?
I was born to slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And think them days was better for the niggas.
Go ahead.
Come. Than the days we are now. One thing was I never was cold and hungry.
I was never cold and hungry. Not my people. Not us. I was never cold and hungry. Massa was good to me. He let me play with his kids. He let my mother work in the big house. He didn't sell us separately like everybody else. I heard other people say he was evil, but that's just a tale. It's a fairy tale. That's that. This is the symptoms of slavery. And that's the proof we're still in slavery. You get it? Point? Somebody hand their hand up. Go ahead.
I'm just speaking on the whole back and forth with the YAHANNA 100 thing.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed when listening to him in those 100 group rooms, whenever he speaks, he always resorts on how he's an OG and his involvement in games.
Who's that?
The YAHANNA 100 dude.
Okay, when he speaks, he's
for him to say, forget about like you were saying, for him to say, forget about slavery and all that, when he can't even forget about his past. And even if he's not doing it literally right now, he always resorts back to it when he starts speaking.
Well, again, okay, that's him giving his credibility, because even in the quote unquote gang culture, the rules done changed from how it used to be, because again, it's not ours. That's the oppressor's thing. You understand? We wear it as a culture and a badge, but this is the oppressor's design, and the rules done change. So he has to state his pedigree, because some younger members are not respecting older members anymore. You get the point? So he had to state his pedigree just so everybody would know almost every time, when if this was really ours, he wouldn't have to, because the younger members would be told. You get the point? It would be a continuation of something, not somebody breaking off and trying to do something new. That's because that was never ours. You get the point? Now that's that culture, and that thing that's not ours. And Tazariak is in there. I hear they call him Baptin Bazariak. He Baptin Bazariak. He on Tazariak and them. That's the next thing they're gonna say. They don't let the Tazariak in the door. You know what I mean? Let him do his thing down there, and he's for sure giving them what they need, which is the brotherly correction and trying to free them from the slavery. And I would imagine the power the oppressor has, where you willingly want to kiss boots and somebody runs out the crowd and stops you. I won't let you do that. Like, that's an amazing amount of power. And it's so much power. That particular person who was going to kiss the boots did not work to get that power. Right. That's residual. You understand? That person never campaigned and worked to convince Black people that they were good. That's residual from hundreds of years of preachers, hundreds of years of TV and propaganda, and Tarzan theme movies. What's Tarzan theme movie? Where the hero is a white man in a foreign culture. That's down near every movie. That's Last Samurai, Dances with Wolves, The Martian, Last of the Mohicans. That's every single movie. It's another Tarzan movie. It's residual, and that's the amount of power the average white man or white woman wields. Salakia. That's the amount of power they wield. When for us to have power, we have to go campaigning about how good they are, and then we get 3 Grammys. That's when we get some sort of power. But the average Devilak, he could have power. He could just stop you and say what the hell ever, and he'll be fine. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Bukwash.
It's heavy because his excuse for trying to get Captain Zazarak to stop doing the boot kisses is because some Edomite is going to see some devil woman on their knees kissing boots and going to get mad and take and try and commit another South Carolina event where he shot up the church. That's what he was saying. He was like, it's going to take it out on the weak and the people who can't defend themselves if they see something like that, and it's going to be your fault. That's his excuse.
And when the basketball gets shot up because somebody from the other side in the wrong color, that's the weak and the innocent don't pay for that shit. Okay, it's okay. Really, what it is there's somebody white who is supplying some sort of resource, or somebody white in their beds, or somebody white, side by side. And they have a personal affinity, and they can't separate the personal side from the professional side. And this here, what we're talking about is the professional aspect of it. This is not personal. The guy who they interview in there, he is absolutely personal. That's why he had to tell you all the personal things he did for him. I believe it's like this, because I was never cold and I didn't never hungry. I was comfortable and I was allowed pleasure. I was allowed to play with their children. That's not a professional standpoint. The professional standpoint is, I don't care about eating. I don't care about my people eating. I care about how my people live. You get the point? Any more on that, Shabbat?
Scripture, sir.
No, you can read the scripture one more time.
Okay, sir. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
Right? Why is he spoiled? Why is he spoiled? Spoiled meaning what? Spoiled mean? Go ahead.
Destroyed.
Destroyed or taken for spoil. He's spoiled. The sacked and taken. You wondering why those brothers are so misguided? Because they're homeborn slaves. Homeborn slaves. That's just it. There's no everybody still sleep and comfortable. But this place is getting to a point, it's not going to be much comfortable much longer. It's not going to be much comfortable much longer. Go ahead. Get some more in the book.
She picked me up and put me in bed with her children.
Mm-hmm.
Master Bob didn't put his little niggers in the fields till they's big enough to work. And the mammies was give time off from the fields to come back to the nursing home.
No, listen, he talking like you hearing him talking, you be like, damn. But he's brought up knowing that he's a nigger. And the mothers and the aunties is mammies. You understand? Like cattle. You have a big buck and you have the mare. You have the jackass and the jenny ass. He's a nigger and his little niggers. And then the women are the mammies. And he giving you how this massa is so good because he didn't put the little niggers, his little niggers, to work until they were old enough. Go ahead.
Nursing home to suck the babies.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't never put the niggas out in bad weather.
Mm-hmm.
He give us something to do in out of the war, in out of the weather, like shelling corn. And the women would spin the knit. They made us plenty of good clothes. In the summer, we wore long shirts, split up the sides, made out of loins. That's same as cotton sacks.
All right. So what does it sound like he's describing that the master is giving them?
Like design.
Read from before the clothing part. That should have been more clear. Salaki.
He never put the niggas out in bad weather. He give us something to do in out of the weather, like shelling corn.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman was spinning knit.
Mm-hmm.
They made us plenty of good clothes.
All right. So what is he, boasting about having?
Clothes.
Before that, he didn't put us out in bad weather.
So like yes,
Go ahead, so what?
a good slave master.
Well, okay, he's definitely, that's the whole thing from the start. He's talking about a slave master, but then he's describing things that the slave master given them. Read it one more time.
Oh God. He didn't put the niggas out in bad weather.
Uh-huh.
He give us something to do in out of the weather,
Mm-hmm.
like shelling corn.
Mm-hmm.
And the women was spinning knit.
All right, what is he talking about? Boy, you're lost in the sauce. You're lost in the sauce, boy. I can't believe it. You should see the view from up here. You're lost in the sauce. Come on, Mafia.
It's like it sounds like he's giving them a promotion. How's he explaining?
You want it? I'm gonna gauge for time's sake. They got jobs, huh? They got good jobs too. Shelling corn. Read it one more time. From the cold part.
He didn't never put the niggas out in bad weather.
In bad weather, meaning when it's cold. You get the point? When it's cold, what happens? They ain't working in the field. You understand what I'm saying? When it's cold, they ain't working in the field. But he gave his niggas jobs to do when other niggas was put out in the cold, put out in bad weather. But this master, he gave them jobs. And I'm not saying go walk off your slavery, that you're evil for having one. I'm just showing you how, just like today, what they tell us when you see us on the corner, go get a job. I'm sure you're working, go get a job. Same thing. And that's the measure of the slave master. Not him giving you freedom, but him giving you that job. Because that job provides you pleasure and your own comfort. You understand? Go ahead, Shapati YAHANNA.
I'm gonna come with a precept, but
come on, let me hear you.
I tried it. Now, can
I'm listening.
paraphrase it?
Go ahead.
When Moses came to Pharaoh and was like, can we get like 3 days to go worship our God in the field? Go in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hold up, y'all need more work to do. That's how they look at us when we are in the corner. We out here, telling we worshiping our God. They like, y'all need to be working.
Right. That's how they look at it. They look at it like y'all need to be working, but he's not looking at it like that. He looking at it like, Master, give me a job. Get the point? You out there blazing, listen, the white man is the devil. How could you say that, man? So how you gonna pay your bills? Who gonna give you your food? That's that. You understand? Keep going.
They made us plenty of good clothes.
Mm-hmm.
In summer,
Are you still on that first page?
Constantly.
Oh boy, it's a lot. All right, go ahead.
In summer, we wore long shirts, split up the sides, made out of loins. That's same as cotton sacks was made out. Sorry, that's same as cotton sacks was made out of.
I believe the cotton sacks is sackcloth, right? Yeah, that shit ain't what you want to wear in the summer. It's itchy and thick. But he grateful. Go ahead.
In winter, we had good jeans and knitted sweaters and knitted socks.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like the Jay-Z of the day. That sounds like Beyonce of the day, right? The Beyonce internet, that's Beyonce plantation right there. In the winter, they got, jeans, denim, and socks and sweaters. Slavery can't be bad. There's nothing wrong with it. That's, at least 19th century. At least. Could even be earlier. You get the point? But definitely 19th century, late 19th century. And you get that same argument today. The same one. Any more? Come on, give me a good part. Go ahead. I mean, the whole thing is mind blowing. Now, this is a later one. I could probably find you another interview of a brother or sister that just praying for this devil to die. Right? Go ahead.
Oh God.
And listen, he's thanking the slave master for all the food and all the clothing and the shelter. Meanwhile, the slave master is giving him what? Christianity. Why is he not thanking the Lord? Why is he not saying, I thank the Lord for all this? The Lord provideth. Things is hard, but the Lord provide. Because really, God is Master Bob. You understand? Master Bob is God. Keep going.
My Paul was a shoemaker.
Mm-hmm.
He'd take a calf hide and make shoes with the hairy sides turned in.
Mm-hmm.
And they was warm and kept your feet dry.
Some of them moccasins, boy. Yeah, I mean them moccasins, them tribes we wearing with the fur on the inside. And a brother making that for them, for the slave master. Come on.
With the sisters wearing them
like the Uggs, like something like that. I think the moccasin down there on the Uggs come from that style. Go ahead.
My mom spent a lot of time carding and spinning wool. I always had plenty things. Life was pretty fine with Master Bob. He was a man of plenty and had a lot of land, and he built him a log house when he came to Texas. He had several hundred head of cattle.
Hold on, stop. So he don't even live down there. You see that, right? Master Bob don't live where he living. But when he came, he built him a log house. Did Master Bob build a log house? No. The niggas did. The old niggas, not the little niggas, because Master Bob let the little niggas stay out the field. Master Bob is just a very good slave master in terms of business. You understand? There's some, you'll have the slave master who he's so, F you slave, he'll wreck the young ones, and in 2-3 years, his plantation dead. And then he had to become an overseer for somebody like Bob. But Bob is a racist the same way. He's evil the same way, but he understands the business side of it. Just like if you was breeding pit bulls, the puppies you want to take care of. Why? Because that's money in the future. If you have this big pit bull, male pit bull, you could sell him down for lines. People with female coming for a line. You could sell his seed. Now you get a good female. You get 1-2 good females. He breed them. They get puppies. You want to take care of them puppies because especially if you got male puppies, that's more good lines. You get the point? That's sales. If you get female puppies, hell, that's more puppies for you. Does that mean you love dogs? No. You love money. You got good with business. You understand? Go ahead.
Life was pretty fine with Master Bob's life. He had several hundred head of cattle and more than that, many homes.
Right. He had a log cabin that he giving him the credit for building, even though we know Master Bob ain't built shit. He had several hundred head of cattle. Who's seen about the cattle? Master Bob? No, he don't even live there. Go ahead.
We raised cotton and grain and chickens and vegetables and most anything anybody could ask for. Some places, the masters give out a peck of meal, and so many pounds of meat to a family for them a week's rations. And if they ate it up, that was all they got. But Master Bob always give out plenty and said, if you need more, you can have it. Cause ain't any going to suffer on my place.
No, I just want you again, I want you to understand it, boy. Because he living good. He's absolutely living good on there. He's saying, I know some places where their master, he give them a little pecking of food, a pecking just like, it's like an old word. Like you ever hear people say, I ain't really hungry, I'm peckish. What does that mean? You're gonna eat a meal or you just want a snack? So that's saying he giving them a pecking of food as rations for the week. And if them niggas get hungry Tuesday and take out, we gotta wait until Sunday. But not Master Bob. He gives us plenty, boy. And he said nobody gonna suffer on this plantation. And they're suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Him and his whole family. The plantation not starving. They in the right spirit because they want that massa gone. Who's making them starve? Massa. On that plantation, who's making them eat? Massa. Massa is God. Massa is absolutely God. Now bring that to today. Why could Biden say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? Because he's Massa. And Al Sharpton and them is that dude. Your Reverend Jesse Jackson is that dude. All the religious leaders who say, yeah, get down with America and go, and we had to change things from the inside. This nigga inside. He in the bed with the chilling. Not the children, the chilling. He in the bed, and he ain't changed a damn thing. He don't want to change anything. What the hell is you talking about? Listen, I'll come and say a question. Brother, ever since I came into DC, brother, this broad, I wish I could get her office so bad. I mean, when her office, I'm talking about her full out station in DC and just get that position to run shit. This broad named Eleanor Norton Holmes. This broad is old and geriatric as could be, brother. She's so old, she talk that bottom lip just shake. Well, we're going to do this and Trump this. And she's so old, old and sitting there. There's another one called Yvette Alexander. These are DC council members. And brother, recently they talked about this bill. This bill that they want to introduce to what is it, boy? Is it to, I think for after a certain age, they're not required to vote. After a certain age, they're not required to vote because of the dementia. They might go in, they might be a little senile, and they might be out of touch with the current needs of the public. Like a person who's 80 years old might still be thinking in the segregation mindset and can't vote. That's the premise they're coming with. They brought that to her, and she said, it might be okay. So then the reporter flip it on her, and he say, well, if that passes, slack it, not to vote, jury duty. They now want to say after a certain age, you don't have to appear for jury duty. Jury duty is mandatory once you get called. They say after a certain age, you can't force this person to come. They should be able to opt out because they might be really out of touch and not really capable of, really being given fair judgment as jury of their peers. She says she agree, whatever, right? Because they're old, they had to come down to the courthouse, wait. So the reporter flipped it on her and said, well, with that said, do you think that they should have an age limit on people who run for office? She said, oh, it's too many of us for that, and laugh. Meanwhile, DC in a state of emergency because of all the carjackings and killings going on. The younger generation is in shambles with no plan to solve anything. The mayor signing in with some old broad named Pinto trying to pass a bill to lock people up for hanging out in congregations as small as 2. They want to introduce a bill that if you somewhere in some high-risk neighborhood, the police has full discretion to just let you go and be about your business or put you in cuffs. They also say for high-speed chases, the cops could have the green light to kill you and not care. Go ahead.
So like I was in DC last night. 2 high-speed chases.
Brother, DC right now is the OK Corral. You don't think it's the nation capital, everything's safe and sound. This bitch is the OK Corral out here right now. Absolute ridiculousness going on. And it's because of that type of leadership. And because who's in office is that same type. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Shar says that's Samuel Jackson in Django. The dude.
Come on, man. Who's that nigga on that nag? That's that. You know what I mean? Let me stop there and take some questions. I mean, that whole book is pretty good. Let me see if I get an earlier one. And I have another book here. We got to go into this one, brother. The most famous postcard ever in American history. You know what I mean? Any questions out? None yet? Oh, go ahead, sis. Get the sister the microphone. Let me hear the question, if you don't mind.
I just had a comment about, the way that the slaves, they didn't realize that they still, even though they was eating good, and they was getting everything that they needed, they still didn't realize that they was in slavery or bondage. And it was the same perception with the listeners on that call with Wack and Captain Tazoya.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't understand how they're still in slavery. They couldn't get it. It was heavy.
It's because once again, you're a home-born slave. Like you born in under master's care. You wasn't hunted down and stripped of your identity and your customs and then brought to a new place. Had to learn a new language, fumbling around with the master. You don't know what the hell he's saying. Versus you being born there. And when you born there, that's all you know. That's all we all know people who never left the neighborhood. They only know the same maybe 5-10 block radius. Never got on a Greyhound and left the state. Forget about leaving the country. Oh my gosh. They'll buy the ticket and then have a panic attack the morning and come up with an excuse and never make it to the airport. Because this is all they know. And you don't care to know nothing else. And for many, that's life. There's an interview that's going around on the internet. I don't know the baseball player's name. I forget where he's from. I think he's from Florida. And there's a brother. And he talked about he grew up in the hood and that's all he knew. And he didn't know black people existed anywhere else. And he got recruited to this baseball team. And the team, I think he was one of the few black people on the team. And he saw another brother and he said, where we come from, you see another brother in that environment, you're going to click and you're going to get the heads up. So he looked at the dude and gave him the heads up. And the other black guy kind of smiled and nodded. And he found that was kind of goofy. So he took it as offensive, like the dude was trying to clown him and he wanted to fight the guy. Until another guy had to tell him, this brother from Dominican Republic, he don't speak English. And he's like, what? Where the hell is that? And he said, what do you mean he don't speak English? Like he couldn't process the thing because he hadn't been outside of that little circle. He never know anything different. And now he's older. He looks back and he's like, man, like I really didn't know. I thought that was the world. I didn't know anything about anywhere else. And that's it. So just think about that. That's really what's happening here. You born on that plantation, brother. You don't know this is freedom. This man providing for you. This is freedom. And you totally cut off from the generation before that would tell you he's the devil. That would tell you that you totally cut off. He's 97 years old. He's recounting the story like that. You get the point? Now you realize why they say no critical race theory in schools. You can't talk about that no more because they want this next generation to be perfect slaves like that. They want absolute perfect slavery going on with no interruptions. None. Who are you coming with this crisis black bullshit? Jews is black. What the hell is wrong with you? You better go get a job. They don't want you thinking about that. How could you make these children who had nothing to do with slavery feel guilty in class? How could you make them feel guilty in class? No more critical race theory. That's out of all schools. We're not teaching nothing about slavery. But I had to learn about the Holocaust. But I had to learn about, Pakistan and the Philippines and Palestine and, the state of Israel. They don't want it that. That's why.
And what's so heavy is that Captain Zarek was bringing up, the same thing. Now we have to learn about the Holocaust and everything, and then everybody kept saying, well, that's them. You don't have to, we're not them. They can talk about the history, but in the Captain Zarek was like, well, we can't talk about what happened to us. This is our history, and because we are because of our history, we are where we are right now. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, they can talk about it, but we can't. It kept going back and forth to that. He was like, this is just an example. I'm not saying that about them, but this is an example. Every other nation can talk about their history and no one has a problem with it. But the second we do, I have to fight my own people.
Listen, now
talk about our own history.
Listen, let me give you a little caveat. I'll use some expensive words, right? A little caveat, right? A little nugget. Brothers like Tazaria, the generals do that exceptionally well too. When you battle your people, brother, you have to battle them from a place of understanding, or else you will hate your people as you fight for your people. And your fight for them will turn into a fight against them. You have to have the understanding, and that's what you see Tazayak is displaying as he battles in that arena. You get the point? He's coming from, that position of remembering at all times, and after a while of being in the truth, you begin to take it for granted because we have a community in here. And the longer you're in here, your ties to the world kind of breaks to the point where you forget it's Valentine's Day. That's shit. Christmas is tomorrow? Damn. It don't even feel like it. I ain't seen no Christmas trees because you so removed. And you could begin to forget that the knowledge you have, brother, at one time, only 12 men on the earth had it, which was Christ and his disciples. You get the point? You begin to forget it. You begin to think that the understanding you have is 1 + 1 = 2, and it's not. That knowledge you have, brother, is the Bible say, what shall be hidden from the wise and the prudent will be revealed to the babes and suckling. That's what's going on today. There was so much of this prophecy that was hidden from ancient men, wise men, scholars, and couldn't get it. And here you come, fresh out of wherever, whether it's, Esau military, prison, the rehab, the corner, the whole house, the strip club, or all of the above, and you able to break this down? And he got 50 years in theology school and he don't know what the hell you talking about. You could begin to forget that what you know is not common knowledge. It could happen. And that's what brings the frustration with dealing with Israel, with some of our people. And you have to remember that because Israel really does not know. You understand? Give me that too. Give me my people do not consider. Is that what I want? Hold on. Give me Isaiah 1 and 3. I think I want the other one though. I want let my people do not consider. I think I want destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Hosea 4 and 16. I think. Say again. What's that say? I'll take that. What's the one in Hosea?
Hosea 4 and 6.
4 and 6, Salakia. Yeah, give me that one. And then give me Isaiah 1 and 3 real quick, all right? Go ahead.
This is Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children.
Right? My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Like, that's really what it is. Like, we really don't have it, Ark. We don't have it. And they are, listen, as we in the information age, brother, and we more ignorant than at any time. We have smartphones and we're the dumbest right now on the face of the earth. You understand? And that's really what's going on. So as you watch it, there's some of people, you brothers are going to get into battles, and you're going, people are going to come to you after and be like, man, I don't know how you could stand there and, something. I wanted to punch this person through the damn screen, and they're not equipped to teach. They're civilians. This is part of the job. You have to wake Israel up. You have to dust Israel off. You have to educate Israel. And sometimes it could be frustrating. But you have to remember, our people, we really don't know. Give me Isaiah 1 and 3.
Look at Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass knoweth his master's crib. Right? These are two of the dumbest animals on the earth. Right? Brute beasts. An ox is not a elegant animal. Ain't nobody riding an ox in a in the horse racing thing. What's the horse race? The Kentucky Derby. Ain't nobody coming down the street, in the parade with the nice horses, the equestrian horses that plop, 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 and they're looking around all elegant. Nobody ain't doing that. The ox, read it again.
Oh God. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. Right? The ox is still able to tell who is in charge, who's really lord over him. And the ass, which is the donkey, knows his master's house. He knows who's really in charge of him. Go ahead.
Oh God. But Israel.
But who?
But Israel.
But who?
But Israel.
These 12 tribes, these black, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Go ahead.
Do not know, my people don't not consider.
Right, but Israel does not know. Israel does not consider. Just like whatever his name was in the book, he's giving all credit to Massa Bob. Massa Bob was good. Listen, he loved Massa Bob so much. Massa Bob is dead, and he's still talking about Massa Bob. And he's so caught in the matrix. Imagine Massa Bob died and he got passed to another slave master. And he's 97 years old and still the property of that new master and suffering all over again. Maybe if you didn't choose comfort, in your early years, you wouldn't be suffering now, but with this and complaining about this new slave master. You understand? So what you gonna say now? You're gonna just talk about the slave master? Now you get a taste of what everybody is getting. Go ahead, Art.
It's like two things.
And use your mic so we could get it. I think both of them work, right? Go ahead.
Slocky, two things about me. How do you pronounce that word? D-O-T-H? Is it doth or doth?
Doth. Like do or does, like doth.
And if I may, he sounded like he was reliving his old high school years.
Who's
high
that?
School football years or something. The slave dude.
Listen, brother, it's the same situation. It's the same. You stuck in something while the rest of your people suffer. You understand? Any questions so far? No sweat. Now we're gonna get, brother. This is the postcard of all postcards. Give me page. You're gonna start reading page 95 in this book here. This is a book called The Black Holocaust. All right, the Paris horror and legacy of Texas horror. There's a few books about different lynchings and race wars that happened in Texas. Paris, Texas was famous for it. There's another place called Slocum, There's a famous Slocum massacre, I think, of 1912. There's a lot of Texas was very, very active with stuff like this, brother. Very active, very, very bloody. Very bloody. I think Juneteenth comes from Texas, right? If I'm not mistaken, because of how active this oppressor was in that situation. When I say active, I mean brutal. Absolutely brutal that they will never, ever tell you about. All right, give me page 95 on this one here. Go ahead, Al.
I remember when I lived in Houston, they asked me if I wanted to go to the Texas relays. I said, where is that, in Houston? They said, no, it's in Austin. I said, we flying? They said, no, we driving. I said, hell no.
Why not? What's the Texas relays? Oh, the college stuff?
Yeah, the races. You know, they was talking about how it's bigger than the Penn relays and everything. And, you know, I'm trying to be driving. I'm not driving. I Texas.
Listen, you a city boy. That's what's going on. You know about Mo. You know what I mean? You know about Mo and the metro. You ain't used to that country life down there, brother. I understand, brother. Yeah, I mean, I fully get it because of the history of it. Yeah, I mean, the history of that place is just, you know, it's like if I tell you today, let's go to Haiti, brother. Yeah. When we going? Port-au-Prince, you know, I was going there at the end of the year. I ain't gonna be able to go this time with you because of what you seen on damn TV. But if you from there, you know how to navigate the zone. You get the point? So it's just, you know, not being from that area. All right. Page 95.
95.
Yeah, go ahead, please. All right, you could get a picture of the book and you put it up.
Start 1915, the small print.
Yeah, whatever's at the top of the page.
1915. No country in Texas can boast of better citizenship than the good county of Bell. What the citizens did on this occasion has been done by citizens of a number of counties in Texas and will be done by many others throughout the state.
So no county could boast of, you know, how good they are. Like this county here, this ain't what he trying to make the point of. This is not poor white trash. They ain't got no problem. This is, you know, one of the best counties ever. And what they did on this day, it was heinous, and it was done before, and it will be done in the future in many other counties. Mr. Ward, go ahead.
If be done by many others, if occasions demand, no power or law on earth can prevent it. Public sentiment endorsed the action of the people of Paris, Tyler, and Corsicana.
You might have to read that one more time again.
Public sentiment endorsed the action of the people of Paris, Tyler, and Corsicana when they applied the torch to the Negro brutes for unspeakable crimes.
All right, so this is two areas in Paris. Tyler, what was the other one? Corsicana. Damn. Yes, you're in the south there with the effort. You're in the south. Listen, the other night I watching Murray had me watching this damn, I forget the name of the show. I think it's on Netflix. And it's really a documentary of how they made what they call the greatest pop song ever, which is the We Are the World song. And they show you the whole thing, how they assemble the cast and they schedule the recording after some awards. So in the middle of the recording act, you know, Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, they get up and they saying, because the song was really United Nations propaganda about feeling sorry for Africa, right? This was around the time where they're showing, you remember that picture is the picture of the vulture and the little African baby keeled over. It's a famous picture. It's a Pulitzer Prize picture. Big-headed African, big belly, skin and bones. Little child, keeled over and laying on the ground. And brother, a vulture is like 5 feet away, just waiting. And the photographer took the picture and won a Pulitzer Prize. 4 months later, the photographer committed suicide because he said he felt so bad because he couldn't help the child. Because he's down there to cover shit. He ain't down there to help. But this child was on the way to some UN food giveaway and died half a mile away. Just dropped dead. All right. So I ain't laughing at you. I'm just right. But anyway, so they're saying, they should put some Swahili in the song. So the white people is like, Swahili for what? So they say, because we want to add something ethnic. They want to make it sound a little ethnic. So, some devil, I forget his name. I said I was supposed to remember his name. Some real redneck country singer said, ain't no good boy ever sang Swahili. That's it for me. I'm out of here. The way he says on the damn thing, he was totally rejecting anything black and anything nigger. He's like, nah, that ain't going nowhere. And that's that same spirit that we're going to read about here. We ain't doing that shit. You ain't putting that old nasty language in my. And he said, good boy. Ain't none of the good old boys ever sang Swahili. That's it. I'm out of here. But you had to hear him say it, boy, brother. I laughed so loud. I was like, this was a totally United Nations propaganda song to get people to give. And they show you how they construct the whole song. That whole part where they say, we are the children, so let's start giving. They purposely put that line in there to make people donate. That was the whole song about. And of course, United Nations unrated so many funds that poor people never ever seen. Ever seen. Go ahead.
The singer's name is Waylon Jennings.
Waylon Jennings. That's his name, Waylon. A good old country name too, brother. He heard that shit and he spoke up. And they removed the shit. They say, all right, we ain't doing this Swahili just to keep him because they wanted so many faces in the damn video because they wanted the whole American audience to donate. People who like Michael Jackson, people who like Bruce Springsteen, people who like Cyndi Lauper, people who like what's the other one? Lionel Richie. All kind of no-name people. What's the this is white boy who they love in America and they think he's so the Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan up there, brother, stoned out his mind and he just mumbling. And they're trying to make you understand and say, they say Bob Dylan know he couldn't sing like Michael Jackson and them, so he was just mumbling. The nigga was high. That's what it was. And y'all just did that for money. But anyway, let's go. Go ahead, Salakia.
Right, that didn't stop Cyndi Lauper and was some other dude, some other devil. It was a Michael Bolton. And when Michael Jackson told him, hey, you need to sing like this, and then they went and started doing it, and then he see him dancing and whatnot, and then as soon as they started singing, he was like,
he looked at them funny.
Yeah, because they can't sing.
Brother, and they was high. They show you that Cyndi Lauper, brother. Cyndi Lauper, after the awards, call Quincy Jones and say, yo, my boyfriend said the song ain't gonna be a hit. And then they show you Cyndi Lauper accepting the award. And brother, she's like, thank you, and all over the place. And then she raised her hand and there's track marks. Bitch was high. It had nothing to do with the song not being a hit. Right. She want to go get blasted after the award. Yeah. And her boyfriend know if she go in that studio, he gonna be itching for about 2 days because she gonna be locked in that studio singing some We Are the World bullshit. He said, tell them niggas, that song ain't gonna be a hit. And she ain't going. She end up going though. But anyway, let's get back to this thing here. All right. You have the picture of the book? All right. Go ahead, Al.
The accounts for the fact that no conviction has ever been secured in cases of this kind.
Mm-hmm.
Public sentiment endorsed the action of the good people of Bell County, and no indictment will ever be found against any man who participated in the burning.
Hold on, you skipped something with the brutes, something with the black brutes.
Public sentiment endorsed the action of the people of Paris, Tyler, and Corsicana when they applied the torch to the Negro brutes for unspeakable crimes.
Mm-hmm.
That accounts for the fact that no conviction has ever been secured in cases of this kind.
Mm-hmm.
Public sentiment endorsed the action of the good people of Bell County, and no indictment will ever be found against any man who participated in the burning of Stanley.
Right? So up till this day, there was no indictment. Yeah. Gotta remember the mic, all right? There was no indictment, there was no justice ever brought forth from that thing. All right, keep going.
It is a closed incident.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Harold, August 22nd, 1915. On July 31st, 1915, a 30.
Take your time. Take your time.
I can talk loud.
No sweat.
On July 31st, 1915, a 30.
Try that one and see.
On July 31st, 1915, a 31-year-old African-American man named Will Stanley was burned at the stake in Temple, Texas.
Right? So this brother named Will Stanley, he was burned at the stake in Paris, Texas. All right? And brother, this is rough here. Keep going.
The previous Wednesday night, someone broke into the home of William R. Grimes and armed with a railroad track hammer, beat him and his wife senseless, and murdered 3 of his children. The next day, when a neighbor paid a visit to the residence, which was on the southeast outskirts of the city, 5-year-old Marguerite Grimes was open to the slide. 5-year-old Marguerite Grimes opened their door to reveal the carnage. According to the Lancaster Herald, on one bed in the room lay an inanimate form of Mrs. Grimes, her face beaten to a jelly, the body covered with blood, the woman unconscious and groaning in pain.
It's working for some reason now.
Hello. Oh, there you go. On a bed in another part. On a bed in another part of the room, reposed the form of the husband with his skull crushed, other fearful injuries and evidence. On a cot lay the body of Willie Grimes.
Hold on. Something's up there.
Oh,
No, it was going. I think it's just the angle of it. Go ahead, Al.
On a cot lay the body of Willie Grimes, a son of 7, a gory spectacle, and a pitiable object with the little skull smashed in. The features obliterated and cuts and.
No, so you're gonna pass it over. It might be easier, so because you holding so much, you can give it to Kazak. Kazak, you mind reading down? To what? Check the speaker. Turn the speaker towards the brother. All right, we're gonna get the sound right up in here. Don't worry about it.
Where you at? Right. Okay.
Gash is covering the entire body. Further investigation showed that the twin infants of the couple, Frank and Mary Grimes, aged 7 months, had been murdered while in the bed with the mother, the little heads also being crushed in. The distorted, twisted bodies of the little victims presented a most horrifying spectacle. 3 other children, including Marguerite, had been asleep in a separate room that the perpetrators left undisturbed.
Hold on. Just get the other mic. Get the other mic that you use for camp, all right? You can shut this one down. Just read nice and loud, because hopefully it'll pick it up.
The distorted, twisted bodies of the little victims presented a most horrifying spectacle. 3 other children, including Marguerite, had been asleep in a separate room that the perpetrators left undisturbed. Mr. and Mrs. Grimes were hospitalized, and Marguerite and the 2 other surviving children were taken in by A.L. Flint, a friend of the family. On July 29th, Texas Governor James E. Ferguson, a native of Bell County Sheriff Hugh Smith, and relatives of the Grimes family offered a $1,700 reward for the capture of the guilty party in the Grimes family assault and murders.
Right? So somebody went in there, killed these devils, right? They have no proof that it's this brother, but of course they're offering some award for it, all right? Let's keep going.
on Friday, July 30th, Stanley was arrested in Rogers, 15 miles southeast of Temple, after he was spotted wearing a pair of trousers marked with the name W.R. Grimes. Stanley told the arresting officers, Rogers City Marshal Albert Bonds and
put a little more volume on
Logan Parks, that he had no knowledge of the Grimes murders and claimed that he had gotten the trousers from 2 other African American men.
What's up?
No, I was saying that value is almost $52,000 today.
Today.
Yes. For the award.
For the award. $1,700 back then, but $52,000 today. Go ahead.
Oh, God. That he had no knowledge of the Grimes murders and claimed that he had gotten the trousers from 2 other African American men, Rodale Slim Harrison of Fort Worth, identified in some newspapers as Claude J. Harris, and Dicey Wells of Temple, identified in some newspapers as Dicey Bell. They had met early that morning in Temple and were all making their way to Rogers, where Stanley planned to work at the railroad section house. County law enforcement officers took Stanley into custody and headed for Belton, the Bell County seat. Their car broke down a few miles short, and since word of a black suspect in custody had spread, they thought it best to get off the main roads. They took to the woods around Little River and attempted to wait out possible vigilante traffic. When the searching vigilantes became aware of their detour, they surrounded...
No, understand this. Somebody from their community gets killed, gets murdered unalive, however you want to put it. And they don't wait on, the due process. They take it up themselves. But Michael Brown family had to wait on due process while the tax money went into, what's his name? Darren Wilson, to water, brother. Shame on me for forgetting that name. While the tax money went into Darren Wilson's pocket.
Right.
Same thing with Eric Garner. Same thing with George Floyd. Same thing with everybody. But they get to exact vengeance at will. And they've been doing that small and great. You understand? They've been doing that small and great. In 2000, 9/11 was 2001, right? 2001, 2002 or 2003. I think it was 2002. I don't even think it was that much years. United Nations President Kofi Annan says, everybody stand down. We'll deal with the Taliban and Afghanistan and all of that. George Bush got up on a State of the Union address and said, if you're not for us, you're against us, and proceeded to bomb the Middle East. When these people need justice and vengeance, nothing is stopping them. Absolutely nothing. Not your vote, not your allegiance, not how good a Christian you are, not how much you appreciate them. Right. Nothing is going to stop them. When you want vengeance, you had to wait due process. We're not the same. Keep going.
When the searching vigilantes became aware of their detour, they surrounded the woody area along Little River, and the officers surrendered with their prisoner. The law enforcement contingent was able to convince the civilian concerned that Stanley needed to be questioned before a determination of guilt, and the mob consented, stipulating that Stanley be taken to Temple instead of Belton. A 100-car, 300-man civilian posse escorted Stanley and his captors to Temple, its numbers increasing along the way. While Stanley was in the process
of... So you had over 100 people
right
going with this brother.
It's like 300, sir.
300.
100 cars.
100 cars. Say it again.
100 cars, 300 civilians.
100 cars, 300 civilians.
Oh, God.
Going to lead the way. This brother ain't got a trial.
No.
And who the hell knows if, the trousers was even, we don't know. These oppressors, you don't understand how far they go.
Right.
Keep going.
While Stanley was in the process of being taken to the private office of Judge R.L. Cooper, the 3 Grimes children were buried together at the city cemetery.
and Mrs. Grimes' brother, Albert Nibbling, stopped the lynching of an innocent African American man by cutting the rope that he was strung up by.
So they was already in the process
Right.
of, dishing out justice,
Right.
according to them. And somebody had to go stop a lynching, not an execution, a lynching, which means he didn't get due process. They just string him up because he's black.
Right.
Somebody had to go cut the rope out because he'd have been dead.
Right.
Go ahead.
The unidentified black suspect had worked for the Grimes family in the past, and Nibbling knew he was innocent. The mistaken suspect walked away from the lynching with severe rope marks around his neck.
Which means he was hanging there for a minute.
Right.
And they probably drop him off a horse or something where it, dig into his shit. Because unless it break your neck, that death ain't instant.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be hanging there. And think about that time, you strong as hell because you're working like an animal. So that thing is going to take some time. It's going to stretch your neck. He walk away with severe rope marks, which means he probably had a crushed larynx. He probably was, couldn't speak for a minute, couldn't swallow right, jammed to hell up. And he just get away by the skin of his teeth.
Right.
And the oppression is so heavy. It would not be far-fetched that he's like, better you than me, nigga.
Yeah.
And walk away. Just like what we read first in the other book, where the dude is boasting about how comfortable he was on the plantation. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir, if I could. When I was in Esau's military and boot camp, we had to do an obstacle course. And one of the obstacle courses was we had to go down this rope. And we had to switch positions so far down the rope. And if you didn't do it right, you fell into this water. So I was trying to do right. And they teach you how to do it without burning yourself, right? So my first time down there, I'm doing it. I'm doing what they telling me, but my leg isn't in the right position. But I don't give a damn because if I ain't trying to fall.
Right.
So I'm going down the rope, and I get a burn on
from the rope.
From the rope, and it's still there.
Damn.
From that time.
So imagine his neck. He probably had a whole necktie sporting it, and somebody asked him how he get that. He probably can't even tell the story because it's traumatic.
Yeah.
You get the point? It's crazy, yeah. Go ahead.
The mistaken suspect walked away from the lynching with severe rope marks around his neck. Cooper's private office was in the Wilkerson building, a 3-story edifice in the business district of Temple. Officials apparently considered this location less conspicuous and therefore safer for the suspect, but they may also have favored its limited access. The sole entrance to the building was at the top of a narrow stairway. In the end, their precautions were pointless. News of Stanley's arrival had spread swiftly through the community, and in less than an hour, a boisterous throng had gathered outside the building. Stanley recounted his encounter and planned rendezvous with Harrison and Wells, and Judge Cooper ordered their arrest and capture. Judge J.A. Humphreys and 2 Temple police officers proceeded immediately to Rogers. For the next few hours, the boisterous legion outside the Wilkerson building thickened into a dangerous mob, reportedly chanting, "Give us the Negro," intermittently engaging in riotous behavior and attempting to lay siege to the building's entrance. The Temple Daily Telegram would later downplay the mob's zeal, indicating that it was not a mob, but a judicial body of good citizens determined that swift and terrible justice should be rendered once the guilty man was found.
No, hold on. No, I just want you all to understand that this is Black History Month. And not all white people is bad according to these upstanding Negroes.
Right.
And it clearly said this was a lynch mob. But read that part again. Even though it clearly said this was a lynch mob.
Right. The Temple Daily Telegram would later downplay the mob's zeal.
Now, the Temple Daily Telegram, which is like almost like a news, not like a full paper, but somebody getting your bulletins.
Right.
Right? Or it could be a full newspaper. They describe that mob as, zeal for judicial. Say it again.
It was not a mob, but a judicial body of good citizens determined that swift and terrible justice.
Hold on, stop right there. Don't even go to swift. Read that first part again.
Come. But a judicial body of good citizens.
Stop there. A judicial body of good citizens. Mm-hmm. What do right wing? That's the Republicans, the right wing. What was the far right describe January 6th mob as?
I was just gonna say,
Mike.
Oh, Slocky. That's what Donald Trump called them.
Good citizens.
These are good people.
These are good people. These are good citizens.
Right.
And they just here to have a peaceful protest.
Right.
That's what Trump said about the South Carolina crew when that dude drove the Charger into the crowd.
Right.
He said they're good people on both sides. Good people on both sides. Mm-hmm. This crowd here is good people. The white man is the devil. You cannot believe nothing he says.
Right.
Commander Hallinan said it. You could believe the propaganda if you want to. You could believe the media if you want to. Not if he's talking like that about them. And there is a bloodthirsty lynch mob. When he talks about you in the news, brother, if you believe that shit, you a fool.
Right.
You simple. You absolutely simple. This is more than 300 plus people. They just had to cut the brother down and he was innocent.
Right.
And the newspaper come and say, these is a good citizens looking for justice. So what before?
Right.
What was that? A mistake?
Right.
They was just taking on the frustration. Just testing the rope and make sure that rope good and strong. Read this again now.
The Temple Daily Telegram would later downplay the mob's zeal, indicating that it was not a mob, but a judicial body of good citizens determined that swift and terrible justice should be rendered once the guilty man was found. After Harrison and Wales were arrested in Rogers, Temple officials reportedly requested and received a temporary truce with the mob, based on allowing Judge Humphreys to deliver Harrison and Wales to Judge Cooper so their testimonies could be taken into account.
So now, if they was zealous for, justice, why do we have to negotiate with them? They had to make a truce with the mob because the mob was getting ready to go and do what they had to do.
Right.
Keep going.
Some reports say the agreed upon cessation in mob hostilities was set to last until 3 p.m. the following afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But by evening, the mob had dramatically supplemented its original numbers, reportedly swelling to 5,000 to 10,000 people.
January 6th, that. Yep. It's January 6th right there. Mm-hmm. Get the point?
Right.
If that thing with OJ was in the South, brother, that would happen.
Yeah.
That would happen. No proof about nothing.
Right.
5,000 people are. And they mad about some Palestinians protesting. And they came out for one black man.
Right.
Just one. And as we read the story, you'll realize why they actually came out. Go ahead.
When Harrison and Wales were questioned, discrepancies in their and Stanley's stories emerged, and county officials kept pressing.
Right. You had this now as they were questioned, you had discrepancies coming up in their stories.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Kept pressing, cross-examining, and re-examining. Harrison and Wales insisted.
You also had to see Bakwash face out. Bakwash finally see the picture. Look for the picture. Don't pull it up yet.
I got it. I got it queued up.
Okay, good. I don't know how long we're gonna leave it up because YouTube gonna say it's graphic and desensitizing and fuck YouTube. Right. Just like I said, fuck TikTok. Excuse my language. I pray they all die.
Right.
I pray this full mix. All your kids die slow.
Right.
Because you're trying to censor everybody. Anybody, when you'll get some time, go look up how much of these media houses is closing down, brother. And how disproportionate the amount of reporters that are being fired are black and brown and not white. because they're really closing down the avenues that people read and about. All them, you remember they had a paper called BuzzFeed?
Yeah.
Where is it? You don't see it no more. You don't see it no more. The Root is next. The Root is next. All these papers, there's so many of them in LA and California that are Hispanic papers for that community. Gone. Okay, we're gonna be the last ones. You all better make sure and support this and share this around. Come to class and film it and share it with your people, because they're trying to close this thing up because they don't want nobody to remember nothing and have no memory to teach the next generation, because they want a generation of full slaves. Keep going.
Harrison and Wells insisted Stanley had been the one in possession of the Grimes trousers instead of vice versa, and that he had tried to trade them the trousers for a pair of shoes. Stanley was clearly the chief suspect, but some investigators and relatives of the victims insisted that the bloodbath perpetrated in the Grimes residence would have made itself apparent on the guilty party's clothes, underclothes, etc., and save his shirt, every article of Stanley's wardrobe was ripe with wear, even down to his soulless shoes, but there wasn't a speck of blood on them. The interrogation.
You ever heard the term you got caught red-handed? Mm-hmm. You know where that comes from? You get caught red-handed comes from, how do I know you're the murder suspect? Because you got blood on your hands.
Right.
And they're saying he's not even caught red-handed. You all think you all got him. Mm-hmm. He has no blood on him. And these is not new clothes he wearing. His shoes don't even have soles on them. And this nigga was walking for miles and going here, there, and everywhere. If he was the murderer, surely somewhere on him would have had blood. Just think, it's not 2022 where he could go home and take a hot shower and get bleach and peroxide. It ain't that. You'd have seen the thing. You've seen it on his nails. You've seen it on him. Seen it on his clothes somehow. Mm-hmm. Even the devil, the lawyers in them is like, well, I don't think we had the right guy. Go ahead, Shapat.
They said the wife's face was like jelly and there was blood everywhere. So he definitely would have had.
He would have had something. It would have had something. And listen, knowing how these devils are, somebody wanted the land for them Grimes. Yeah. And they just come in there and just wipe everybody out who would have usual, regular claim to the land. Right. You understand? That's how that thing went up.
Right.
Go ahead.
The interrogations dragged on, and just before midnight, the mob decided it had had enough. Its bolder constituents stormed the Wilkerson building's narrow stairway.
So hold on, the interrogations going on because, of course, they unsure.
Right.
And they ain't want to have somebody, guilty who they don't know about for sure. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The mob is 5,000 of them. Them niggas say, swift justice. Enough of that. We're not waiting. We don't care. Somebody got to pay. Really, somebody from that community got to pay, regardless of who it is. Keep going.
Its bolder constituents stormed the Wilkerson building's narrow stairwell entry, overran or otherwise rendered ineffective any law enforcement personnel who struck a defensive pose and seized Stanley. Harrison and Wells were immediately released because officials knew they had no way of protecting them. Both suspects ran for their lives. The impatient mob marched Stanley down the shortest route to the public square in a procession the Temple Daily Telegram later described as orderly as a circus parade. Once there, the throng, which now included women and children, pilfered nearby goods, boxes, and timber, and built a fire. Just before the mob placed Stanley in the flames, an unidentified citizen confronted him, stating that Stanley knew himself to be guilty, but asking if anyone else was involved. According to the Dallas Morning News, Stanley's reply was thus: "I know I am guilty as any of the rest, but I didn't do the killing. I held the horse while Slim Harris did the killing. We were hired to do it by a little low, heavy-set white man who owns a dun horse and a good big buggy. Wait until tomorrow, and I will take you to him and point him out, as I would know him anywhere.
Listen, who the hell knows if what he's saying is even true because of the trauma he going through? He's saying anything to not die. They could have told him, yeah, say that, and we last till tomorrow, but you're admitting to knowing about it. The crowd is not going to believe you, whatever. And even if it is true, then he's not the one. It's that oppressor who done got him to do this, like what happens today anyway. Skip me down to the part where they get him, Mark. That's what I want. If you ain't see it, let me know. I could probably grab it for you.
I think it's right here.
Go ahead. Where they actually start the justice, quote unquote.
Oh,
because how they write it, it's gonna make it sound like they were on to something. They was not on to nothing.
Right.
They was bloodthirsty from the beginning. It says clearly they had Stanley as the main suspect.
Right.
Go ahead.
The unidentified inquirer reportedly then kicked the fire away and asked the mob to wait. But another unidentified citizen shot Stanley, and the crowd relegated him to the conflict.
Oh, read a little bit above the part with the fire, just so everybody could understand what the part is saying. When they say kick the fire away.
The impatient mob marched Stanley down the shortest route to the public square in a procession the Temple Daily Telegram later described as orderly as a circus parade. Once there, the throng, which now included women and children, pilfered nearby goods, boxes, and timber and built a fire.
All right. So this crowd, which was by that time made up of women and children, they built a fire, just like January 6th crowd built a gallows for Pence. They built a like a bonfire down there. You get the point? Pyre with wood and built it up because they was getting ready to execute justice. Go ahead.
Oh, God. The unidentified inquirer reportedly then kicked the fire away and asked the mob to wait. But another unidentified citizen shot Stanley, and the crowd relegated him to the conflagration.
So, who kicked the fire away?
An unidentified inquirer.
Right. So somebody come in there to disrupt the whole thing, kick the fire away. The mob say, forget that. Shut this brother. Right? Go ahead.
Stanley's body was dragged through the blaze repeatedly, and between the flames and the gunshot wound, he perished quickly.
Right. So he was shot, and they throw him in the fire, then drag him out, throw him back in the fire, drag him out, throw him back in the fire. And with that, he died because he bleeding out, plus he, choking on the smoke, and he being burned out. And don't think it's just the fire. They're stoking that fire. Gas getting thrown on him. They're making sure that thing get good and fiery. Go ahead. And remember, there's women and children there.
Silence after a few faint cries and moans. Later that morning, members of the mob retrieved Stanley's blackened torso with charred, contorted, and truncated limbs intact, and hung it from a large wooden post. So
now they took the remains of his body, and they hung his body from a wooden post with all the limbs intact. Go ahead.
So photographs could be taken to commemorate the event.
So you're worried about damn fucking Super Bowl. Excuse my language. You're worried about Travis Kelce and Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion. You're worried about all of that shit, and Sexy Red and all that shit. So now they done, listen, they didn't even let you see Osama bin Laden body.
Right.
But this nigga here, yeah, we had to hang him up for everybody to see. We got to make a spectacle of him. He got to be hung up. There's 5,000 people here. We got to get him a show. Go ahead. So his body is burnt and charred. We're going to show a little bit of it. I'll deal with YouTube after and talk to the Lord about YouTube. Go ahead.
One of the images was used to create lynching postcards.
Say that one more time again.
One of the images was used to create lynching postcards.
Say that one more time again.
One of the images was used to create lynching postcards.
Now, don't tell me nothing about slavery was in the past. And not all white people is bad and blah, 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 blah. There was children there. There was children there. I believe this was 19 what? What year this was? 1915. There was children there who, probably just dying today. Was alive in 1980, live in 1990, possibly on the jury with what's the brother who they beat the LAPD beat? Rodney King probably was on that jury. Probably then made laws for immigration down on that Texas border. There was children who was in that crowd. And they hung this brother up so that people could take pictures of him. Because this was like a trophy kill. This was a huge thing. Come on.
Like you said, that the children helped gather everything together to make the fire.
Because of course they're so helpful, right?
Right.
And now you see why the read. Give me hold that right there. Give me Isaiah 14 and 21. You quickly.
Call. Book of Isaiah chapter 14 verse 21. Prepare slaughter.
Say it again.
Prepare slaughter.
Say it again.
Prepare slaughter.
What did Isaiah say?
Prepare slaughter.
Go ahead.
For his children.
For who?
For his children.
For who?
For his children.
Go ahead.
For the iniquity of their father.
Yeah. Anybody who talking about, so why the children? As some old dumb crackhead Muslim asked me, well, what kind of God you got if he gonna kill children? What kind of children you got? If they're gonna gather fodder for the fire for my people. Somebody got to die, right? Let's let God decide. If your God right, my people die. If my God right, your children die. Now you see why the Lord said prepare slaughter for their children. Because the children was gathering that thing to burn that brother. Keep reading. No, back to the story.
They were selling for 10 cents a piece by August 5th.
How much is 10 cents a piece today? These postcards. When does this happen?
It's at 1915.
1915. Did it say the month?
August.
No. By August 5th, it was selling for 10 cents.
Right.
But when did it? I was trying to get the time. $3.04. So $3.04 today. These postcards were selling like hot cakes. Postcards. A postcard in the damn post office ain't that much. It's really nothing. Keep reading. July. So within a month, they mass produced this card and was selling it. Might as well put the card up.
On August 1st.
So like you had it on up, Shapat?
Nah.
Oh, Salaki.
On August 1st, the Temple Daily Telegram coverage of the Stanley lynching took a strange turn.
Mm-hmm.
A page 3 headline said Web tightens around white man in the Grimes murder.
After they done took postcards and sold it, they said web tightens around a white man in the Grimes murder. So none of these brothers was guilty. Some devil, like I just said, more than likely wanted the land. Now, is that picture big as hell? Make it big on the screen because the postcard, brother. Okay, read a little bit more. Hold on, let me see the book. Because the postcard, I want you to read what's written on the postcard. It doesn't come after? We're going to read some more about it after. All right? It's big enough where people could see? I need you to read. Now, this brother here, his limbs is burnt off, brother. His legs broken off, all that type of shit. And they made the postcard, and this is what they wrote as they sent it to their family members about that day. Please go ahead.
This is the barbecue we had last night. My picture is to the
This
left.
Is what?
This is the barbecue we had last night.
I thought it was justice. I thought it was zealous for justice.
This is the barbecue we had last night.
This is the cookout we had. We had a barbecue last night, boy. Go ahead.
My picture is to the left with a cross over it.
And if you watch the postcard, to the left corner, there's a little white boy with a little black X over his head. You see it? Hold on. Give me. Right here. See that little black mark?
Oh,
that's not that. Yeah, that's not natural. Hold on. Yeah, that's it. My picture is to the left with a cross over it. So they probably block it out because of the cross. But it's that little black thing right there. That's not a hat or nothing.
Okay.
That little in the left corner, there's a black spot over some devil. He's saying that's him. He not prominent in the picture. He in the background. But we got to take a picture of this like it's, you know, LeBron James.
Right.
Go ahead.
My picture is to the left with a cross over it.
Mm-hmm.
Your son and Joe.
Mm-hmm. My picture is to the left with a cross over it. Your son, Joe. This was a postcard in 1915 in America. You see Black history. For anybody who say we need to forget. For anybody who say we could move on. They're not all bad. They this, that, the other. I want a giant poster when this place turns into a lake of fire. Gigantic. With chariots and the lasers and everything and vengeance coming down from on high. I want to see it. Go ahead.
I want that painted on the ceilings of my mansion.
God damn, you look up and you see and your son, hey, what's that? Yeah, that's the destruction of that place called America. And what's that over there? Right. Yeah, that place there is a place called Texas. It's evil as hell. These devils, you know. Right. If you look closely, you see the little bones. Yeah, that's them. Right. That's them. Right. Go ahead, huh? I don't know. I want it in their face. Keep going.
On August 1st, the Temple Daily Telegram coverage of the Stanley lynching took a strange turn. A page 3 headline said, "Web tightens around white man in the Grimes murder." In the piece, the white man Stanley mentioned before his death is identified as the drug-addled husband of W.R. Grimes' sister, who wanted Mr. Grimes and the Grimes family to suffer because his estranged wife had conferred with her brother about divorcing him. Sheriff Smith refused to comment on this possibility or the ongoing investigation that was being pursued in regards to it.
So hold on. So this was some old Hatfield and McCoy bullshit. And this brother had to suffer. Right. And I believe even this account of it is tame. I have another book called Without Sanctuary. I didn't bring it with me. And I think they dragged him through the streets repeatedly. That's how his limbs broke off. Right? It wasn't just, they burned him and that. I think they dragged him through the streets. Dragged him back and forth because they was having and it says we were having a picnic. Right. That's what it says. We were having a picnic. And, then they hung him up. They hung him up and they put the loincloth over him because everything was burnt. Get the point? I believe this is a little tamer one. I'm going to double check. But that book, Without Sanctuary, I think I bought that for a few dollars. I believe that book is about $1,500 now. I think I bought that back in 2009. I got that, straight over Amazon as soon as I heard about it. It's like, damn near, this is the journalist written version, but that's just pictures. It's just all pictures of all the lynchings, and then they're telling you about who is who. Right. They had this brother standing on the back of a wagon, like a pickup truck, and he naked, and they would just come and carve pieces of his skin off and whip him and do all kind of stuff to him, brother. And then they lynched him. Right. You get the point? Go ahead.
I didn't mean to keep interrupting too.
No, go ahead.
But it's crazy too because I'm on a TikTok on the lives and watching a lot of the videos, just pretty much just seeing what people are talking about. I always find it interesting how these devils, when you ask them, who do you think is the most evil person in history or the most evil people? And they always say Hitler or the Nazis. And I always laugh at that because that's the response I usually expect. And then I tell them, well, Hitler learned what he did from America.
Right.
Like nobody ever looks at the American people, these Caucasians here, and you never associate that level of evil to American people because the entire world doesn't view what happened to us
as something that's bad.
No.
It's just like it's justice. Or,
The victims are not important.
right.
Like if you want to know how valuable you are, look at the justice you get.
Right.
The justice you get determines how valuable you are.
Right.
You get the point? Like a white woman, she knows she's valuable. You know why? Because wars was fought over her. Amber Alert. You get the point? I'm a single white female. The cops gonna show up in droves. She sees how justice reacts for her.
Right.
She knows she's important.
Right.
Everybody wonder why it is we don't call the cops, why we don't want to get, help the police out. Because we see how justice reacts to us. And we're not important. Your numbers are important.
Right.
Your stats are important. But we are not important to you. Any more?
He says, Sheriff Smith refused to comment on this possibility or the ongoing investigation that was being pursued in regards to it. But he did confirm that he thought that even if a white man had been involved, he still thought Stanley had done the killing.
Brother. Before I just said, this devil here more than likely did this thing because of some family dispute. He said, listen, man, even if that was true, that nigga guilty. That nigga there, he deserved that. He guilty as guilty could be. Whatever.
Right.
White man probably paid the white man for the chance to do it.
Right.
White man didn't have to go get him. He probably went and said, boss, I know you want to kill them. I'll do it. That's how they think about us. And that's today. That's your Trayvon Martin. They always get away. I'm not leaving him alone. This boy did nothing to you.
Right.
Nothing to anybody. They always get away, They always get away. Ellison Zimmerman, his coward ass, talk about how he tried to wrestle him and he didn't know the young boy was strong. He didn't know Skittles make it strong. It make niggas strong.
Right.
Salakia. Skittles and I.S.P.K make niggas strong. Anybody else, you going weak. Go ahead.
Marshawn Lynch is known for
eating Skittles. He beast. The young boy turned him over. And now you got to go pull your gun on him. That's how these people think about us. Right. Keep reading on.
When questioned about the mob, Sheriff Smith was ill-disposed, but admitted that it was only Stanley they were after and refrained from condemnatory remarks. There was no one in that crowd who had any desire to hurt me or anyone else but the nigger. I have no kick against anyone. I wanted to hold the Negro a day or two for the information I hoped to get from him. I tried in every way to do this. I used every ruse and argument I could command to induce the crowd to let us keep him a while. We knew from the start we could never hope to get the Negro out of town. Therefore, we did not intend to make the rash attempt. All that we hoped to do, and all we really tried to do, was to defer the inevitable as long as possible in the hope of gaining more light on the deplorable Grimes tragedy.
So really, okay, first he's saying he think he involved even though this white man is involved. Then this crowd was supposed to be about justice.
Right.
And he's like, listen, man, they was going to kill him anyway. That ain't my fault. I was trying to plead with the crowd with every argument and every ruse to tell them, let us keep him a few days longer. Just let him stay alive just a little bit longer.
Right.
This is who we serve under. This is who ruling over us.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Come on.
As long as possible in the hope of gaining more light on the deplorable Grimes tragedy, because we fear there were more people implicated and that there is much in the bloody tragedy that has never been brought to light. On August 2nd, Sheriff Smith said the white man theory had failed to develop and reiterated that he thought the Grimes murder was the work of one man, Will Stanley. On August 4th, the white man theory was revisited in the Daily Telegram when Mr. Grimes' shaving razor was found wrapped in a cap at Rogers. On August 5th, Bell County resident D.K. Northington and a group of like-minded skeptics of the lone black man theory found scraps of blood-stained underclothes in the remains of a recent campfire near a pool of water off the Santa Fe Railroad tracks, just southeast of the Grimes property. They also reportedly found an undershirt wrapped up and pinned to the bottom of the pool by a large rock. Law enforcement officials gave the recently discovered underclothes little credibility, and on August 8th, the Daily Telegram published a story introducing and emphasizing Will Stanley's alleged past criminal record, presumably to bolster the theory of Stanley's guilt.
So hold on. This is 1915.
Right.
And they had to bring up your past to justify what they did. Go ahead, Shepard.
Doesn't sound like George Floyd and every other black man.
Brother, it's the same thing, huh? It's the same thing they've been doing. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. It's the same exact thing they do. They got to do that. Listen, tonight I'm watching a story on the news. I believe this broad is from either Howard or Catholic U. Some broad who was down in that 14th Street area. She went to shop, and this homeless brother came up and asked her to buy him some tea. I guess it was cold, something hot to drink. So she went and she bought him tea, bought him dinner, asked him how his health, bought him some medicine, and got him a hotel to stay for the night because it was cold. So she got so moved, she filmed it. She filmed the whole thing, walking him through the store. I don't know if she was an influencer or what. I don't think so. They say she's just a regular student. She got so moved by him. She filmed the whole thing, put it up on the internet, and started a GoFundMe for the brother to get him, whatever he needs. Brother, the GoFundMe in the space of about a week, 400,000 and change. Tonight, breaking news, Fox 5. Effing racist Fox 5 DC. What happens when you try to do something good for somebody and you find out he's no good for the community? So I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? They went and found a tape 5 years ago of this brother, allegedly, because I didn't see his face, but they have video and they show clear video of somehow the video in blurry arc, where this other homeless person, a woman sleeping on the street, somebody run up on them, put a pillow over their head and get to work Mayweather on that head arc. The police say they arrested the person. They say the person is him. This was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, some homeless beef. GoFundMe put all the money on hold and said if anybody wants their money back, they could have it. This could have changed this brother's life. This could have changed him and whoever he wants on the street to have their life change. 4 years ago, they bring this thing up. They try to reach out to the girl. The girl, of course, because she is, young and she's female, she don't know how to go to war. Brother, I'm going on a campaign. I have to find this sister, and I want her to have me go up there and talk to the news and explain to them. They say, this is what they said. They said, should he get this money even though he's attacking people? Well, you attacking him right now. You attacking him right now. What should you get? If you attacking him right now and you sleeping in a house, he on the street, what you want him to do? Be happy? Be goddamn fucking Mr. Rogers? They would never break up two homeless people fighting, much less feed them. Right. This is the type of people we serve. You're going to rob a homeless man. Rob him. She's going to give all this money to this brother and set him up. Now you're going to rob him and they say you just had to come and request and you'll get all your money back. Now, if that was a white man, if that was an Afghan or Ukrainian brother, forget about it, Doc. Go ahead.
Nobody would have even looked into research or his background.
No, they wouldn't care. They would not care. But this is the people we serve under. Kazak anymore?
It's a little bit more. But
come on.
Law enforcement officials gave the recently discovered underclothes little credibility. And on August 8th, the Daily Telegram published this story introducing and emphasizing Will Stanley's alleged past criminal record, presumably to bolster the theory of Stanley's guilt, or perhaps ease the community of Temple's collective conscience, suggesting that even if Stanley had been innocent or partially innocent in regards to the Grime murders, he was surely guilty of other crimes.
You understand? That's what they do today to us. Either to support the fact that they're weak evidence,
right,
or even if the evidence is just so weak, it's obvious he didn't do it, it's to ease the community's conscience.
Right.
Because the community's conscience was seared after George Floyd until that whole fentanyl thing come around. They bring up the fentanyl thing and how he was a porn star and he was beating up women and he was doing this and he robbed the deli of $20. The cops did them a favor, right? That's what they were saying. They've been doing that for the longest while, brother. 1915, you in 2023, and the same thing is happening. It's no different. Absolutely no different. We good with that? Anything else?
Yes,
good night,
I found her.
Go ahead. Go ahead and play it out,
I found her, the GoFundMe page. I don't see the. She's a TikToker. She's from Cali, moved to DC, and it shows $403,768 from 170 people. That's an average of $2,375
per person.
Per Comic-Con.
Yep. They didn't say what school she go to.
Lie, sir. I'm not seeing it.
It's so evil in this place, sir. It's absolutely evil. Who knows? She could have been scamming, trying to raise the money and keep it herself. But the victim here is the brother. And this brother is older. He's probably like 60 something. He's an older brother. And they have to bring up your past to justify how damn evil they are. This place is sick. This place is sick. If we have any questions you all have, you all could get them in next week or tomorrow night scripture breakdown class. We're going to leave that there, brother. But never forget the history, brother. Never confine it to just this month. But we're going through this month because Black people is, all ears and all eyes for this month. All right. With that, we pass the class over to Priest and Officer Shapat there. Let me grab the
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. The I.S.U.P.K.
You could take the picture down too, You did?
With I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When new brothers and sisters comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves in the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced I.S.U.P.K. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. Purim, the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month. Thursday, the 22nd of February, and Friday, the 23rd of February, 2024. Defined us in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 through 31. Also, we had the Lord's annual 55th Passover coming up in Durham, North Carolina on April the 20th. That's the weekend of April the 18th through the 21st. If you don't already have your travel arrangements together, make sure you get your travel arrangements together and book your hotels. You want to add anything, sir?
Nah, that's about it, brother.
Come. Remind Occupant to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on. The I.S.U.P.K. I.S.U.P.K. events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband or scarf. And with that, I say I like him, which means to stand.
Just do the salute, huh?
give a courtesy salute to the teacher. Minister Imam Shabbat, Mike, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yahweh Song, which means to turn. Sisters may stand. Mike, we'll give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Minister Imam Shabbat, Mike, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
Yahweh class dismissed.
Israel, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yahanna, presents the Lord's 55th annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 55th annual Passover is rapidly approaching. Commanding General Yahanna is calling for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to remember what the Lord did for us by saving us from our oppressors and choosing us to be a special people unto Him, the real Jews and Israelites. Passover will be held in Durham, North Carolina. Pay your Passover fee. Anyone 17 years of age or older must pay $200. Come and enjoy fresh lamb, unleavened bread, and the Spirit of Christ. Can't wait to see you all there, Israel. Shalom.
Gathered on streets and corners, all is feeling righteous. Real particular, nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us.